What is up, Ludi Bros Army? It's your boy, Big Bro Lamar Ludi, sitting down to go ahead and check out the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics basketball game that's going on tonight, November 1st, 2021. I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts on this game. Now, I tuned in a little bit late. If you were checking out my fantasy video, you know that I was tuning in a little bit late. The first quarter had already completed, and we were starting the second quarter. And I got there just in time because the Boston Celtics were getting ready to put together a very nice run going into the half. They were down by about 10, and now they're up 67-59 at the half. There were quite a few plays that I'm going to key in on here during the halftime before I get back to the action. But let's go ahead and take a look at the box score, and we'll see how we got to this point. Like I said, I missed the first quarter. I got in about, a little bit midway through the second, about 6 and a half minutes left. And the second one is when I tuned in. But DeMar DeRozan, it looks like he's been going off. Now, I didn't see him do anything during that stretch. Maybe he scored one basket, but he's got 21 points to start things off. So he's starting off nice and hot, 9 of 12 from the field, looking good, 2 of 2 from three. Lonzo Ball, I saw him hit a corner three. His shot was looking good. He's 4 for 4. So he's got 12 points, 4 for 4 from three. The team is looking solid. They're built around those two guys. Now, this is my first time tuning in to the Chicago Bulls. I know they're off to a very strong start. They're 5-1, and there's been a lot of pressure on me from some of our viewers to go ahead and put something together for the Bulls. Looks like we have a lot of Bulls fans here on this channel in the Ludi Bros Army, and that's really good. They're looking good. They're looking very good. I know they had some good offseason moves with Caruso and Ball, adding those guys in. DeMar DeRozan, the huge signing to pair those guys with Vukovic and with Zach LaVine was a big move for the Bulls. They're looking to finally get themselves into the playoffs. And when you're a team that just simply hasn't been very good, let's just be honest, the team hasn't been good, and you finally have a chance to make some noise, a lot of people are going to be happy about that. But they're coming into Boston. Boston erupted for a little bit there when I turned it on, when Jaylen Brown started going off. Now, this is great for me and my fantasy. Jaylen Brown has 17 points. He was the big contributor during that run. 3 of 5 from 3. He's shooting 50% from the field. He's already got 5 boards and 3 assists. I want to see a little more production from him from steals and blocks for fantasy value, but for the sake of this game, he's right where I want him to be. And Marcus Smart, another guy that I have in fantasy, but here he is chipping in. He's got 12 points. 3 steals. Those are going to be big on my fantasy. But 3 steals from this game, looking good. That Celtics defense really clamped down, and they just looked really solid in that second half of the second quarter. Now, something that I want to point in on is 2 players that are new to the rotation this year. Dennis Schroeder and Al Horford. There was a couple plays back-to-back where Schroeder got the assist, giving it to Horford. Horford hit a 3 for 1. He hit a short floater for the second. Those are the type of plays that we need and the type of production that we're going to need. Kemba Walker, for as good of a player as he was just injured all the time last year. And then we were starting Daniel Tice last year, who I think he's solid, but a starting center, I don't think he's that. So having Al Horford here, is going to help shore up the rotation on the offensive and the defensive end. As we can see here, Al Horford's already got a steal. It'd be nice to see him get a block. Robert Williams III, he's got 6 points. I want to see him get the glass. Let's get some more rebounds here. We need some production out of you on that. The bench coming in. All of these are pluses. All of these are pluses here in the plus minus. So that's going to be very solid. Jason Tatum, he's going to pick up his scoring. He's only got 11 points here, shooting 50% from the field. But in the second half, he's going to pick up his production there, and we should see a nice steady diet of Jason Tatum in the second half. But this is going to be pairing up to be a very nice game, I think, down the stretch. I'm excited. I know a lot of Bulls fans are excited to see the Chicago Bulls looking very young, and Lonzo Ball's got them moving along. They do a lot of run and gun, it looks like, from what I'm seeing here, but they can also execute in the half court. With a guy like DeMar DeRozan, he should be able to, and we can see it here in this game, he's going to be able to get you some scoring in that half court with that mid-range game of his. And as for my Celtics, we're looking much more solid. I liked the additions of Schroeder and bringing back Al Horford as long as he can stay healthy. I like those additions. I want Robert Williams III to get more minutes. I called for that at the end of last year. He's got 15 minutes here, so that's good. I mean, we're looking pretty solid. I would like to see a little more out of Jason Tatum, which I'm expecting here in the second half. Be sure to stick with me, and I'll come back to you guys at the end of the game. Well, here we are with the final 128-114. What a comeback from the Chicago Bulls. It was definitely the tale of 2 halves here. The Bulls were able to go on a huge run in that second half, and they came back and they stunned the Boston Celtics. The Bulls are now 6-1 overall, 3-0 on the road, whereas the Boston Celtics fall to 2-5 with an 0-3 home record. This is really tough for the Celtics early on in the season. Still time to figure things out. But let's go ahead and take a look at how this game shaped up. DeMar DeRozan, who we looked at him in the first half, I mean, dude was balling. He was balling and hitting from all over the floor, especially in that mid-range. He did hit a couple threes, but that mid-range, and like I said, to be able to execute in the half court, that is definitely something that's really going to help the Bulls out here in the Eastern Conference. They got a big boost from their bench. As you look at all these bench players, you get plus 23 from Derrick Jones Jr., you're plus 21 from Alex Caruso, plus 15 and plus 11 to round out the guys off the bench. It looks like Coach Billy Donovan's already tightened up his rotation a little bit, which is kind of strange early on in the season. Usually you'll see coaches going a little bit deeper into their rotation. Maybe they just wanted to really come out and get this game. But look at this. In the fourth quarter, 39 points for the Bulls for only 11 from the Celtics. Where did everything go wrong? If you're a Celtics fan, which I am, where did everything go wrong? Well, there was just a lot of turnovers for the Celtics in that second half. Jason Tatum only was able to get up to 20 points. That's not going to cut it. You're going to have to get more points. Some bright spots to take away from the Celtics. Al Horford and Dennis Schroeder, they teamed up for quite a few buckets of Schroeder to Horford. And I really like seeing that type of production from the point guard and the center or the power forward spot, whatever you want to look at. But 20 and 10 from Al Horford, 28, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal for Jaylen Brown. I think he needed to be a little bit more aggressive and continue being aggressive in the second half the way that he was in the first. And then Marcus Smart being a glue guy, 16, 1-1. Definitely going to help with 4 steals. Those 4 steals are definitely going to help my fantasy numbers. But for this game, we needed a little bit more. Also, when you look at the bench production, we just need more bench. We're going to need more production from the bench. I think that's going to be one of the takeaways going forward that the Celtics are going to have to focus on. Josh Richardson, he was another addition. He's going to have to provide a little bit more punch off of the bench. Coming over from the offseason from the Mavericks. So he was a minus 21 when you're looking at this plus-minus numbers. But the biggest plus-minus on the team is Jason Tatum. Tatum, 8 for 22. It's just not going to cut it, especially against a team like the Bulls, who in the second half, they were able to turn it up defensively, cause a lot of turnovers, get out and get some easy buckets for them in transition. So the Bulls looking pretty good to start the season off, but what is this really going to translate to? Time will tell. I mean, it's a long season. The Bulls haven't been relevant in a long time. I mean, if you want to go back, at least until Derrick Rose, if not that, you're going to have to go all the way back to his Airness himself since the last time they were relevant. They're going to have to go ahead and make the playoffs first for me to really look at this team as any sort of a threat. DeMar DeRozan, we've seen what happens with teams that he's been the leader of. They fall apart in the playoffs. They ran into LeBron James quite a few times, but teams that are led by DeMar DeRozan, they've historically not been able to get the job done when it comes down to it. And as for the Celtics, they have got to get things figured out. 2-5, not how you want to start off this season. Not going to lie, especially with that 0-3 record at home. This is not something that we want to get into the habit of doing, getting out into big leads and giving them away, or not being able to pull out games that are tight. That's not something that you want to get in the habit of doing. We want to use this early part of the season, get our legs underneath us. I'm going to give them 7 record, 3 more games, but then we've got to start stringing off some wins here, and they've got to come back to back and in decisive fashion too. There's no reason for this team that has been deep into the playoffs multiple times, that still has its nucleus, that still has its core, that has a returning piece in Al Horford. There's no reason for them to be struggling so much, even if it is early in the season. I would expect a little bit more from them. We've had some games that were very close going into double overtime with the Knicks, and also another overtime game last week. But we've really got to start putting away these games. The games that we should win, we're not. And then the games that are a little bit close, the ball is not falling our way. So they're going to have to get those things straightened out. It's a long season, though. There's no reason to get too high if you're a Bulls fan or get too low if you're a Celtics fan. Things can easily turn around quickly. We've seen that in previous seasons. things can turn around very quickly for a team, just so long as this 82 game season plays out, which we are back to 82 games this season. All right, well, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this video, this look at a good game between the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics. Keep that notification bell turned on. You're going to want to check out the NBA content that's going to be coming to you on the regular, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you for watching the video.